Adam here from the Walser Automotive Group, and what I want to do today is compare a couple of EVs, specifically the 23 Hyundai IONIQ 6 and the 2023 Hyundai IONIQ 5. So what we'll do is we'll look at the interior, some of the cool stuff on the outside, and see which one might be best for you. Okay, so let's begin with the IONIQ 5. Now, this was the first one to enter the lineup, as the IONIQ 6 shortly followed it after, and there is going to be a lot of similarities between the two, but also a number of differences. Now, with the IONIQ 5, there's going to be about 9 different exterior colors, where if you go to the IONIQ 6, there's going to be about 12 different colors. Now, as far as battery, all-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, long range, there's a whole bunch of different ways you can kind of break those down, but the ones we have here today are both going to be the SEL trim. Now, you can go SE, SEL, and Limited, and that's going to go for both models. Now, this one is in the all-wheel drive, so the total range on this one is going to be 266 miles. Now, the total range for the IONIQ 5 and the IONIQ 6 is going to be a little bit less for the 5. That one has a drag coefficient of 0.21, so that means it's going to slice through the air a little bit better and help you get the longest total range out of that vehicle. So if you're someone who's after just the longest range possible, the IONIQ 5 can do 303 and the IONIQ 6 can do 361. So that would be the configuration to get the most total range out of it. But if you're like me here living in the Minnesota winters and you're going to want that all-wheel drive, you do cut back a little bit, but you are going to get the short-footedness of that. Okay, so now that we got through some of the confusing stuff, let's talk about this specific SEL. Now, this one's gonna have these awesome 19-inch wheels, and like I said, it comes in a bunch of different colors. There's also some matte paint options, which looks super cool. This is a very futuristic looking vehicle. The IONIQ 5 is gonna have what they're calling their pixel headlights, which is a very kind of menacing, futuristic look to the front and then as well to the back of the vehicle. And this one is also gonna have parking sensors all the way around, as well as a great backup camera inside. So let's talk a little bit about the inside before we jump in. Now, this one behind the rear seats is going to give you 27 cubic feet of volume compared to the IONIQ 6, which is only going to give you about 11. So what does that mean in real world? You're going to fit 4 sets of golf clubs and a ton of stuff in here. That one maybe 2 or 3 sets of golf clubs, and then you can fold the seats down in that model. But if you are hauling around or if you've got the kids, maybe the IONIQ 5 seems to make it a little bit more sense if you're bringing stuff with you all the time. Okay, but let's hop over to the IONIQ 6. We'll take a look at that exterior. Okay, so now on the IONIQ 6, let's start with what would be the battery options. There's going to be a 53 kilowatt hour and a 77.4 kilowatt hour. So what that means is more power, or if you're looking at the extended range, those are going to be your 2 options from this. Just a little bit smaller on the IONIQ 5, but again, if you want the sedan style instead of more of a sportier style SUV, the IONIQ 6 is definitely the one to look at. Okay, so now, to my opinion personally, I think the IONIQ 6 in the SE with the all-wheel drive is gonna be one of the best trim levels for this model. That's gonna give you a total range of 316 miles, and you are going to keep the all-wheel drive. But again, the one we have here today is the SEL, which is gonna add some of those creature comforts inside and a little bit of style on the exterior, which isn't bad as well. So like I mentioned, this one's gonna be a little bit down on overall interior cargo space, but what makes up for that is some of the stuff inside the vehicle, as well as the different good looks on this one. Again, you're gonna see those pixel headlights on this, and in the rear, you're gonna kind of have like a double ducktail, and like I mentioned before, that's what's gonna help you slice through the wind to help you get the best possible range out of this vehicle. Now, we have to talk about charging on each. Level 1, Level 2, and Level 3 are gonna be an option for both vehicles. So Level 2 would what you'd be able to get at home. So if you upgrade your home, you'll be able to plug in both vehicles, and they do have pretty quick charging rates from 0 to about 80%. Okay, so like I mentioned on the SEL, this one is gonna have the 20-inch wheels, and if you don't want the style, you can go down to the 18-inch wheels, and that's actually going to increase your range as well. So both are gonna have power liftgates in the back. Again, that one's gonna be more of a hatch style like an SUV, where this is just gonna be a power trunk, but plenty of space in here. Maybe you don't need all the extra room, or you're not hauling stuff around, or you just want the 4-door sedan. The IONIQ 6 is definitely gonna provide a better overall vehicle that way to you versus the IONIQ 5. I know it can all get a little bit confusing between some of the trim levels and the packages and all that, but inside is really where both of these vehicles shine. So let's hop back over to the IONIQ 5 and we'll start in that one. Okay, so there is a ton of equipment and a lot of stuff you can go to, whether it's the SE, the SEL, or the Limited. That's why I figured the mid trim would be a good one to go off of, because you kind of get a feel for what you can get. Now, With the SEL, this one with these kind of mock leather seats, they're made out of recyclable materials. They're also going to be heated, and this one also has a heated steering wheel. Now I love that it's just a center piece. So if you drive down here, or maybe the 10 and 2, the old school 9 and 3, however you drive, the steering wheel I found to be very comfortable in both vehicles. Our 12.3-inch infotainment, as well as our gauge cluster, makes it a breeze. This is one of the best infotainments on the market. It's very responsive. Some of the other systems out on the market today are kind of laggy, or it takes a little bit, but I mean, you can go from your map to your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which this is capable for, and it's very quick and it's just super easy to use. There's also kind of quick access buttons down here, so you can bring up your backup camera at any time, or you can jump back to your map or your CarPlay again. Really cool, really easy to use there. So now down below, this SEL is gonna have wireless charging. You've got 2 USBs down here and then another one up above. Now it is important to note that if these vehicles are equipped with the navigation system, because of safety reasons, you are not going to have wireless Apple CarPlay. So you do have to plug it in down there. I plugged it in, it works great, it's easy enough. It keeps your phone away from you, so you are paying attention on the road and what's ahead of you. Now, as far as safety is concerned, that's where these have a ton of safety features. You can kind of go through and see some of them here when you go into the vehicle settings. There's going to be things like blind spot monitoring. You're going to have all your driver conveniences. There's smart cruise control. You have forward safety, driver attention warning, parking safety. I mean, the list goes on, and that's going to be the same for the 5 as well as the 6. There's also a ton of other stuff you can add if you go up to the limited, but again, we'll keep it kind of simple today and focus on what we have here. Now, a few other things, you're able to see your EV, so how long it might take to charge, where your nearest charging point is, how far you can go for your range, and how much power you do have left. So a lot of good information in there. And like I said, the screens are easy to click through. They're very fast and responsive. There's also your drive modes on your steering wheel. So if you want to get a little sporty, you can flip it in, or if you're trying to get the best possible range, you can go down into the eco mode. A ton of stuff. Again, the seats are comfortable, the driving position is great, and this is pertinent information that's gonna be shown to you that is in your line of vision. So you're not over here messing with stuff. I love the way the cluster is laid out. It's just a great feel to it. So let's talk about how this doesn't have a standard transmission tunnel. So that's gonna free up a ton of space here as well as in the back. Now, like I said, this one does have a lot more space inside, and you do feel that when you're in the back seat. So if you're bringing people around, if you've got the kids in the back, I think the IONIQ 5 to me makes a little bit more sense from that regard, because you can pop the hatch, throw the strollers in, all that stuff, throw their sporting equipment. It seems to be a little bit more family friendly, the 5 versus the 6, but again, it can go either way. Overall, what do I think? Again, the SEL with the range, this one being 266 miles, you get the all-wheel drive with that. So it kind of depends on how your driving style is, how it works, how the weather is dependent, but it's great. The charging is easy on these vehicles. I mean, overall, I love the exterior styling of the 5, and I think I kind of lean this way, but let's hop over to the 6 and we'll take a peek at that one. Okay, so now we're in the IONIQ 6, and there is going to be a lot of similarities in here, but it is quite a bit different as far as the layout is concerned. Again, we've always got our phone on us, right? So we've got wireless charging with the SEL, and then your USB is going to be right here. So a little bit closer rather than tucking away, but this one also is going to get a large storage compartment down below, because again, you're not having that transmission tunnel like you would in a normal car. So a lot of the infotainment's going to be really similar in here. I mean, the 12.3-inch displays both stick, all of the buttons are going to be the same. The backup camera is going to seem a little bit different because it's not coming off the hatch, it's more off the trunk. But there's a couple ways you can adjust this to be a straight down view. Or if you go to the limited model, there's a 360 and a bird's eye camera, which is super cool. If you've ever been at that really busy grocery store on the weekend, you know how important that is to have a good backup camera, and it's really great, but just the standard one, and with the parking sensors in both vehicles, really, really good. Now, the steering wheel on this one, the little 4 dots will light up, and I found that if I put it into reverse, those 4 blue dots turn to red. So it's just kind of little things like that, or maybe like in the seats, how it's got the green and yellow in here. There's little touches all over the vehicle that just bring a style and a character to it that's really kind of neat. Again, in this vehicle, it's gonna have the same dash. This one's got these cool lights I found. So when I turn it on or off, the lights kind of bounce back and forth. It's kind of hard to see during the daytime, but also the speakers are gonna light up in the IONIQ 5. There's different door lights as you go through the trim levels in here. But I mean, overall, the cabin, the comfort of these seats is amazing as well. I feel like I have a little more space on the driver's seat on the 6, but maybe a little less room in the back for some reason. I don't know if that's the way the roof is shaped or just the way, I'm about 6'1", so most cars seem a little small anyways, but overall, I mean, the driving position is gonna be very similar, but it just feels a little more spacious in this one. Now, in the back, there is gonna be vents, there's gonna be USB plugs. So again, like I said, maybe the 5 seems a little more family friendly to me as a kind of an SUV where this is more of a sedan, but there is still a lot of room in the back seat. More than enough to put 4 or 5 adults back there, go out to dinner, be comfortable. And again, if you're out on the golf course, you can throw your clubs in the back, fit 4 adults in here, and you are gonna have plenty of room to do that. Okay, so this one has a 270-mile range with the 20-inch wheels and the long-range configuration with the all-wheel drive, where that one is only a few miles less. So there's a few different options, whether you're looking at the SE, the SEL, or the Limited, whether the interior features, there's gonna be some different colors. This is the lighter interior, where that's gonna be the black interior. There's matte paint on each. There's a bunch of cool colors that you can select from. And I mean, overall, if this is your first EV vehicle, if you're looking to jump into an EV, I think the Hyundai is one of the best ones on the market right now, whether it's the infotainment, the warranty that comes with it, just the overall style of both of these vehicles. I mean, they're sharp, they're eye-catching when you see them on the road. And with all the interior features you get, you absolutely have to get out, drive one, see what you think. So that was just a quick look at a couple of Hyundai EVs. Now, if you'd like more information, you can visit us online at walser.com or stop by either one of our Hyundai locations. We'd be happy to help you out. Thanks again for watching.